Hello, Good Vibes Show fans. Welcome to episode 7 of season 13 of the Good Vibes Show by me, Jerry Holly, part of the Special Concern. Hope you've all been enjoying season 13 thus far, folks, with catching up on episodes 1 through 6 of season 13, as well as catching up on seasons 1 and 12 of the Good Vibes Show, their recap specials, and in addition to that, you've been listening to my special series, The Road to 2022 USA Games, which talks about my experience training up to and the results of me competing at the 2022 Special USA Games in the Land of Heroes. So, folks, I hope you enjoyed season 30 thus far with it being themed around positivity from Ted Lasso. So, obviously, by now, if you've listened to the first 6 episodes, you know their themes. So, we're actually now officially in the back half of season 13. So, to start this back half of season 13, folks, and episode 7, the top theme for today is be positive. So, it's actually very interesting to talk be positive because actually the theme around the whole season is positivity. So it's interesting that be positive be one of the themes for this, or actually one of the episodes on this. Actually, rephrase that for a few minutes. So, well, I think looking at it, I think we need to see being positive is actually if you read everything else watched everything else prior to this episode, and if those who have listened or who have watched, that the rest of them sort of lead up to this. And I think be positive in this situation. I mean, positive of what's happened in those seasons and everything that in the all the past seasons everything's been positive, of course, but here's like this is really ultimate positivity. I think just that's all being positive right now in the theme here. So, and I'm sort of being very positive talking about all that, but also we have to be positive in regards to what we're doing in with ourselves because one negativity drags people down and has negative impact. And I think we just can't be negative about things. I know people think negative is good, but like I would say like it's constructive criticism, which is sort of putting a positive twist on it. But looking at it, we just can't be super negative. We have to be more positive, super positive, optimistic, inspiring, all that stuff. We need to be great people to do things because I think being positive has a more profound impact than being negative. I know some people say, "Oh, but everyone's super negative." Like, yeah, you can look at the things negatively, but in reality, what that's gonna do, in my point of view, is you have to be positive. And I think looking at it from that standpoint is being positive is more impactful than being negative. Well, granted, being negative does have its impact on this, but being positive is 10 times more impactful than it is. And I think one thing I've learned is like positive leadership. I'm just gonna be being positive, like in the sense of leadership, has a more profound impact with positive impact leadership than negative impact leadership because leaders who are positive get better results. And I think that's how we look at it. I know on the Give Vibe show, talking about such thing as leadership is one thing, but like and really think about it though, positive leadership is a very good way to be a positive person. And I think that's the thing. But you can also be a positive teammate to folks and coworker just by setting a positive example. And I think I've been told I've been super positive, even though sometimes I'll admit that I am a person of I would say pessimistic and optimistic simultaneously, depending on how I look at the situation. But I prefer the be now realize that I'm more in that optimistic, positive side of things in my life. Then it's kind of good to say I'm a more positive individual, despite that I have times where I can be pessimistic. But I think being pessimistic is part of being optimistic, I think, but also sort of built into like you can be that pessimistic type person, but you can be positive about that too. I think that's being optimistic, obviously, but think it just like I said, being positive can have its ultimate benefits for everyone. I think we need to focus on being more positive, folks, because we need more positivity in the world these days. And I think folks don't take the opportunity to appreciate that. And I think that is the issue we have right now is there's too many people who are pessimistic and too negative. And like, hey, get rid of all that negativity, folks. Let's be positive and let's have a good life, folks. Because one, we have to be positive to strive better, to do better, to become better. Because if we just choose the route of negativity, we're only gonna drag ourselves down. And I'm gonna use the example of myself here in swinging. Like I did not so great in the recent my past summer games for in special Olympics and swinging. Like in one event, I only got going, all the rest of I've ribbon. I'm like it was totally disappointed in myself. But I said, okay, I'm gonna take this as an opportunity to learn from it. and actually build up on my training to get better. So I took being positive to actually get better and become better in my events, and hopefully I'll do well this year. So that's just a very good example of being positive in a very negative situation, folks. So I just want to thank you all for listening to this because being positive is very important to everyone these days. So remember, folks, be positive, as I say. So, folks, let's wrap up today's episode with our great sponsor from the Special Chronicles Network. The Give Out Show is proudly featured on the Special Chronicles Network. Visit specialchronicles.com for links to follow on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. Be sure to also subscribe to the newsletter and find the podcast page for this podcast, The Good Vibe Show by me, Jerry Holy. If you love The Good Vibe Show, then you love the other podcast on the Special Chronicles Network. Visit specialchronicles.com for links to subscribe to our podcast, newsletter, and to follow us on social media. And to support the podcast on Special Chronicles so we continue our mission of giving respect advice to people with special talents and abilities. Visit specialchronicles.com/give to make a gift today. So thank you folks for listening to our great sponsor from our sponsor, the Special Chronicles there. Also, here's my personal reminder to you all is remember to follow the Give Hive Show on Instagram at GiveHivesBJH, Facebook, facebook.com/GiveHivesBJH. You can also follow on YouTube, youtube.com/GiveHivesBJH. Also, subscribe to the Give Vibe Show by me, Jerry Hill, on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts from. Last time I checked, I was over 1,500 listens, which is pretty impressive to say the least. But I also want to remind you folks, you can also support me via my Redbubble shop. Look up my artist name, which is Jerry M. Holy. It is technically Holy JM Designs now, but Jerry M. Holy is the original name for it. So you can look it up that way. You can support me via all the nice designs that there are, including a few good Vibe Show things. So I just want to remind you folks again, thank you again tuning in for episode 7. I hope you all enjoy your week. I'll see you next time, folks. So till then, peace out, blah, and have a great week, everyone. I'll see you next time for episode 8. Bye, everyone.